Welcome to your collective reading for the full moon in January 2024. This is the full moon that is falling on the 26th of January. And I'm just really excited to dive into the energies with you today. I've done a pre-shuffle, I've pulled some cards, we're going to have some fun. And this reading, like all readings, are intended to help invite you into a deeper understanding of yourself, your situation, and the energies surrounding you, and also the potential pathways and possibilities available to you. I always recommend, whether you're working with me one-to-one or in a sort of collective public forum like this, to trust your intuition and to invite it into the conversation as well. No one, regardless of their professional experience, is a greater expert on you than you. So I always believe this is an invitation for you to get more deeply connected to yourself as well. All right, so I'm going to start with the major themes that have come through for this full moon reading. And this will also be an invitation for you to check in with your guides and yourself and your intuition and see if this reading is meant for you. As this is a general reading, it may not resonate with everyone, and that is totally okay. I would highly recommend you always tuning into the initial messages, confirming, does this sort of resonate? Does it sound like something I need? Perhaps the themes, the words, the messages, or simply your feeling, your gut feeling, your intuitive feeling will tell you, I need to stay, I need to listen, or I need to go. Either way, let's dive into it. I really like to start by sharing almost just some words and some messages. These will all make sense as the reading continues, but I invite you to begin to get comfortable and see what is coming up and through for you. So these words just sort of stand out immediately. We've got jealousy, we've got joy, and we've got journey. In the realm of relationship, love, connection, friendship, it could be in family also. There has been some past wounds, some past hurts, but also a lot of potential joy and possibility. I'm sort of getting the message this could be a birth in the family. It might be a celebration or an anniversary of some kind that may not have gone all that well, but at the same time, this is all part of the path. This is all part of the journey, and you're seeing and you're sensing that there is a potential here for further growth, for further healing, for further potential. Yeah, for some of you, that is definitely in regards to some kind of birth or the growing of a family, even if not in the traditional sense. So that might be a little bit of an indicator that this reading is meant for you. The full moon, just as an aside, is a beautiful time for illumination. So maybe this is the moment you realize that, regardless of what's happened in the past, friendships, romantic relationships, family, children, etc., that there is still a lot of joy to be had in this area, and you're focusing on manifesting that. So maybe you're stepping in the direction of starting a family or growing your family. Maybe you're realizing, for all the joy, there's also been a lot of pain and you're stepping away from a certain connection. But whatever you focus on is what you'll manifest. So that's just sort of the first little messages coming through. Perspective, possibility, and precision. These cards are very interesting as well. So, and the reason I'm not showing these cards is just with the pre-shuffle, it's just the initial energy that I'm wanting to focus on rather than getting caught up in the details here. So there is a new path, there is a new possibility. This full moon in particular is an invitation for you to sort of wake up, shake up what is working and what is not. So really the perspective shift might be you realizing really for the first time, whenever you find this reading, because this is just me channeling through the full moon, it doesn't have to be on the full moon that you receive this message. Whenever you receive it, if this is resonating, know and trust it is meant for you. This perspective shift has been a long time coming. It is not the first time you've experienced a radical sort of shakeup and change up in your life. So if anything, even if this circumstance is new, you can embrace the fact that you've gone through radical change in the past, and you're able to, because of that experienced lived experience when it comes to change and growth and potentially starting again, you're able to be a lot more precise in how you respond and what you're making this mean in your mind. Now, to go a little bit deeper into that energy, this might look like in the area of business. It might be something to do with your finances. I'm getting a strong sense of sort of waking up to your potential for prosperity. So maybe you've been having some very exciting ideas when it comes to making money, a side hustle, or maybe even a change in career. So, you know, take that as it resonates. This might not be, well, it definitely isn't the first time you've had to sort of consider these things, but I do see a lot more potential here when it comes to making that change swiftly, rapidly, and much more decisively than in the past. So if you've been a little bit worried, I'm like, oh no, not this again, sort of open up to the reassurance that if you've handled it in the past, you can handle it in the present. And if it happens again in the future, you're going to be even more prepared next time. So that is very exciting as well. Our next lot of messages. It is time to break the chain. I see this as something that has been lingering either in your sort of family timeline or maybe past lives, but you're aware of it. So this isn't going to be a shock. It's going to be something perhaps that you felt like you've had to put up with, deal with, sort of just get over and accept. However, that has been part of the chain. That has been part of the conditioning and the programming and the wounding that has been woven into your family, your bloodline, your history, your lifetimes. Now, this is a very strong message that that doesn't have to remain the same. So you may wish to tap into this full moon energy in whichever way that resonates with you, to do some releasing rituals, to maybe even do some reflection. Like, it doesn't have to be super woo-woo, it can be super practical. What am I willing to let go of? What have I accepted in the past that no longer serves me now? Perhaps this is an opportunity to reach out to a friend, a mentor, a coach, someone who can help you work through this, even perhaps a therapist or some kind of professional counselor or person in that area as well. Trust yourself to know what serves, and also don't be afraid to experiment and try. You never know what is going to be the missing piece in the puzzle. Also, there's a strong message here as that's big work. That's, you know, deep subconscious and conscious work. So making sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. And the final lot of overall themes and collective energy, all of these might be resonating, or maybe just one of them. So really just allow yourself to lean in and listen. I hope you can hear me over those birds. So these ones coming through. Yeah, this is another confirmation that healing is necessary and needed at this time. This might be also from some kind of addiction or habit, whether that's, you know, social media addiction, it could be food, it could be other substances, it might be people and relationships. So whatever in your life currently is kind of on that knife's edge of it's good when it's good, it's bad when it's bad, but regardless, you're always walking that razor edge. This is an invitation to start to think about, how can I really honor myself? Because healing is available. And this might mean that there are some radical changes, but again, the full moon is a perfect time to get really clear on what is going on, to shine the light in the shadows and unearth whatever it is that might be holding you back. So those were the overall energies. Those were the collective messages. Those were the themes, the invitations, the portals, the doorways that will indicate to you whether the rest of this reading is really going to resonate. Now, I will just mention here something that I shared in my community, Solid and Satisfied, this week, because I always prep for the moon phase. I always prep for, you know, the coming energies. And I gave them this activity, and I want to share it here as well, because we're talking about the full moon. And I want to give something a little bit more practical for you to apply, because if all or some of those resonated with you, you might be thinking, okay, well, how can I really tap into this energy? How can I really access that moon wisdom and apply it to my life in a way that's going to help me get the clarity, help me get the confidence, and help me take action in a very aligned way? So to put it quite simply, this is the activity. And you can do this in every full moon, by the way. This is just the sort of channeled process that came through for me that I shared with my membership, which, by the way, you're more than welcome to join. Details will be below. So the full moon activity is you sit, and you don't have to sit. You could be doing a walking contemplation. Maybe you want to go for a walk in nature. Maybe you sit outside under the full moon this evening. Perhaps you even just connect to a picture of the full moon or have some kind of moment where you're really engaging with that energy, whatever that looks like for you. As an artist, I might even paint it or draw it as a portal in, as a way to connect. So once you've connected with the energy or set the intention that this time and space, I am communing with the moon, I am open to the wisdom of the mother moon, I am ready to receive illumination. So however you need to engender that feeling, that energy, that perspective, you come into conversation. As someone who really likes writing, what I would do is be writing questions in my journal and then connecting to that energy, answering from the perspective of the moon. Now, the moon can represent many things. You might want to visualize it as a goddess, as an energy, as a higher spirit or guide. Perhaps you think the literal moon is answering, whatever resonates with you, and see what comes up and through. This isn't about filtering. It does require imagination, but also know and trust that your intuition and your subconscious is working on your behalf as well as any other guides or sources of inspiration or muses that you connect to. It might feel a little bit clunky at the start. Just stick with it. You can ask as many questions as you like. You can go until you feel an intuitive kind of, I'm done, or perhaps you come up with a very clear system for yourself. Something I recommended in the membership was, like, for the 4 quarters of the moon, have sort of 4 questions, one for each area of your life, or one for each sort of phase of the moon. And in the fullness of the moon, you're getting that clarity, you're getting that illumination. If you'd like to share with me what came up and through if you did that activity, or ask any questions about it, the comment section below is where I'd love to connect to you on that. And I'll say this here because I'll probably forget at the end. If you'd like to book a full moon reading with me, which is basically you're just booking a reading now during the full moon energy, so we can really tap into this illumination and clarity for you, I'm going to put a special code below to give you 44% off the readings. That can be applied to any of my intuitive services that you'll find online. So please feel welcome to use that code. It'll be available until midnight Sunday this week. All right, now we're going to step into pulling some active cards for some active energy on the full moon. Now, I'm going to be splitting it into today, past energies, present energies, and future energies. The reason I've chosen to do this is because sometimes we need the full context, the full perspective to really get the clarity on what is happening and how we can work with it. At any stage, if you're feeling there's deeper messages or meanings out of any of these cards, please share them below. I believe in the active participation of anyone, engaging these types of things. So if you're feeling really called, if you're really getting a strong message from your guides, your intuitions, share them below as well. All right, so starting with the past energies, we're looking for 3 cards. Here we go. Very strong, very powerful. All right. Eventually, I'm going to set up to have 2 cameras, so you'll be able to see the cards and see me, but that's a future thing. All right, so the first one, we have the 10 of Arrows instruction. This is from the WildWood Tarot, by the way, if you like this deck. We have the Wheel, and we have the Sun of Life. Very beautiful and powerful. So very recently, you've learned some lessons that have really shifted your perspective on, what it is that you're doing. This might be in the recent past, as in the last sort of cycle of season. So it might have been in 2023, you really woke up to, or had the opportunity to learn, to grow, to expand, to maybe work with a mentor or be a mentor yourself. Whatever lessons you were taught in the past year, I'm also really getting the sense that it might have been, last summer or last spring, some time of sort of active fiery energy, you learnt a lot. You might have even gone from novice to master in that time. I'm getting the sense, however, that you haven't quite integrated that fully. You felt the spark in your heart, you felt a calling, you felt this sense of, growth and rightness, but you haven't quite brought that out into the rest of your life yet. So that's a really interesting energy. I'm just going to pull some clarification cards on this. All right, so to clarify the 10 of arrows, we've got the 2 of vessels or the 2 of cups. So there was something about this mentor or this course of learning that really attracted you. It felt like a match made in heaven, and perhaps you even felt like it was fated. It was a perfect harmony of fire and ice, feminine and masculine, and there was this almost too easiness to it. And that's not to say, it's too good to be true, but it felt like it flowed really well. With the wheel, we have the 10 of vessels, happiness. So the 10 of cups, happiness. This was actually very, very rewarding in this season. It was coming so easily. It was filling your cup. You felt very prosperous and abundant and able to share. I'm sensing there are a few more messages to this, however, because I'm getting a but feeling to all of this. And then with the Sun card, we have the Queen of Stones, so the Queen of Pentacles. So yes, just confirming once more, this was a very prosperous time, and that might have been prosperous in terms of your finances, in terms of, growth of your career or your business, or maybe just more opportunities coming your way. It might have been, as I'm looking at these cards, this sense of, going from novice to master very quickly, very easily, very gracefully. It was almost like there's no way this can go wrong. Like I said before, I am getting the sense, but there's a little bit of a hiccup in that past energy. So maybe we'll get some clarity here. We got the 9 of arrows, dedication, the 9 of stones, tradition, the King of arrows, kingfisher, and the Star card. Okay, so this is very, very interesting to me because it almost feels like, well, it almost feels like we need 2 more cards out. The spark of life and creativity. Okay, beautiful. This is clearing up the picture of what's happened in the past. So you had this learning opportunity, this sort of growth path. It was accelerating, it was flowing, it was feeling good. You dedicated yourself very determinedly to whatever you were learning, whatever process, whether that was a mentor, a class, maybe you went to university, maybe did some extra study for your career or job, or maybe it's just your own personal development. You're reading a lot of books, you were taking a lot of action, maybe you're watching a lot of YouTube, and you're really focused on your growth. So you're very dedicated to that traditional route. This has allowed you to get a much clearer picture on where you want to be heading in the future. But it's required you to almost get creative and start again with where you want to be heading and how you want to be getting there. I'm finding all of this very interesting. Let's tap into your present energies. So for me, the culmination of that past energy of you were really setting yourself up for success. You had a lot of indicators, you had a lot of signs, maybe even in this moment, you are feeling fully taken care of. However, I do get the sense, and on the bottom of this deck, we have the 4 of Cups, that you feel like something is missing. And with that said, being here in this full moon reading, being here with this full moon energy is a perfect time for illumination. So let's start to ask the question, where are you in this present moment? And what is missing from this picture for you? The moon card has popped out. So yes, we are asking you, the moon, for a little bit of guidance and clarity here. What I also sense from this card is there's a sense of balance that is missing. Maybe in that past sort of learning, it felt like you had all the knowledge, but you didn't have the know-how in order to make it happen. Or you were receiving all of these signs, but you didn't quite have the strategy to put it in place. So really connect to, where was the balance off? Where was the balance missing? What have you realized? And maybe you're realizing it just in this moment, but what have you realized was the missing piece or the missing part of the puzzle? So the Death card coming out next, that is going to be the thing that helps you really start this next chapter, move forward, take confident action. And I'm getting the sense here as well that whatever you've learned, whilst necessary, whilst needed, needs to be let go of as well. Sometimes we go to a mentor, we go to a teacher, we go to a class, we go to a university, we go through a job, and we learn a lot. And we also realize that didn't give us everything that we needed. So this might be an opportunity for a bit of forgiveness as well. And I actually was speaking about this with a client earlier this week around, sometimes we can tell ourselves we've wasted time or we've missed an opportunity, or, I wish I hadn't done X, Y, and Z because I would have been further ahead now. And when we look at the past through the lens of regret, through the lens of it's wasted time, or, I was off path, we can get attached to really, without meaning to, attributing a very negative story. But if we hadn't gone down that path, we wouldn't be where we are today. So there's an opportunity for forgiveness, for grieving, for letting go, but also for embracing and accepting you needed to learn the lessons of the past, even though sometimes they're very expensive or they're very painful or they can be very, very challenging and feel like, well, I did all of that and now none of it's useful. But when you start a new chapter, you actually don't ever start from fresh. You start with all of your experience behind you. So all of your experience is good experience. What has come out after that, which I find really interesting just visually, so I'm going to show this to you, is the Knight of Pentacles. How interesting that we have the Death card and then the Knight of Pentacles almost in the same pose. This Death card, it's about rebirth, it's about transformation, it's about change, but it's also a really, powerful card of like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to change my future, to rewrite my story. And that might mean knocking down, kings of the past or structures, or institutions that no longer align with me, whether that's a job, whether that's, a place of learning, or even just the stories of the past. So that's a really strong and fierce card, and he's willing to go to battle for what he believes in. This Knight of Pentacles is on the other side of that. Okay, I've fought the battles, I've won the war, I've made the change, I've Phoenix rebirthed my life, and now I'm starting from this place of newness, freshness, and enoughness. That's what I'm really getting the sense of here. So to reel it back to the reading so far is you've learned a lot, you've gotten signs of where you want to be heading, you've done, or you might be doing currently, because this is in the position of the present, you might be, in this energy at the moment where it feels like, things are falling as quickly as they're building, or, you're having to release and get rid of before anything new is built. Knowing and trusting that this is actually putting you in this beautiful, perfect position to be ready to start the next chapter. To me, this is giving a lot of reassurance, a lot of comfort, in whatever changes that you've needed to make, even if it's felt like, and I mean this in a very metaphorical sense, even if a part of you has had to die, has to be released, had to be let go of like fully, it might have been part of your identity. It might have been something like a career, a job, a relationship that you've been in for, years or decades or something like that. So a big part of life has had to be let go in order for you to make way for what is coming next. See what else is coming through in the present. So we're asking for what was missing. So far we've got balance was missing, and also needing to make way for what is coming next. And what? Very sticky fingers. And by that, I mean, I'm feeling like this next bit is coming over the next few days or the next week, simply because it's not quite fully in the energy yet. We've got the Ace of Pentacles, so an opportunity coming your way in the next few days, in the next week. The Page of Cups, it might be an offer, a relationship, an unexpected offering. And then the Nine of Pentacles, success. So I invite you, if you're really resonating with this reading, I assuming you are if you've stayed here this long, is looking for the signs that things are coming your way, turning your way. Now, you need to get creative. This was one of the cards from the past. We needed to get creative with the way you're viewing what is happening around you at the moment. Everything is in transition. Everything is in transformation. There is so much change around you in life at the moment, probably in all areas, but definitely in whatever area is resonating the most here. So apply it where it fits. And because there is so much change, we can't expect the signs of the past to be the signs of the future. So get creative, get curious, start to look outside the box when it comes to possibilities, pathways, and what might be working for you. Having just a closer look here. See if I can give you any more specifics on this. I very interestingly get the message that there might be some travel in the books. Now, travel doesn't have to mean, move to another country. It could just be, you travel across the city to go to a different cafe and you meet the right person. You're traveling in your mind. So maybe you're reading a lot of new books or travel blogs. Maybe you're on YouTube and you're considering, what else is out there? How can I change? How can I grow? How can I go on a journey? So, curiosity is going to serve you in that way. You might have opportunities to travel. You might have opportunities to meet people far away. So that could be online, or it could be you visiting them or them visiting you. Success, the message coming through here at the moment, and this won't be for everyone, but it might be for you. Success comes through your willingness to internally and externally travel to meet it. If we're just stuck in the bubble of our own experience, it can be hard, especially if we haven't experienced much success in our life, to think that it is available. So get out of your comfort zone, get out of your house, get out of your suburb, get out of your city. And like I said, that can be online or it can be, in real life, in person, and experience more. Open yourself up to new opportunities. So that's really the present energy at the moment. We're calling in balance, we're calling in transformation and change, getting ready for the next chapter, and broadening your horizons. Let's have a look at the future position. Now, the future is never set in stone. This isn't about being predictive, but it is about looking at the possibilities. Very interesting. I'll just pull a few more. One more. This, oof. All right. I will take them in order that they've come out. So we've got no, I'm not. I'm going to show you what I'm seeing. So we've got the Queen of Arrows. We've got the Queen of Bows. We've got the King of Stones. And we've got the Stag. The Green Man in reverse. This is the Emperor. And then we've got these two other cards, which I'll show you in a moment. So I find it very interesting that you've received 2 Queen cards and basically, to me, 3 King cards, one of which is in reverse. There is something that's off in your balance of energy. So looking forward to the future, I'm seeing here there's an opportunity to really connect to your emotions, to connect to your passions, and to pursue this in a much more expansive, creative way. There is very much Empress energy coming through both of these cards. Opportunities for collaboration, for community, for connection. I think there's also a very big sense here that you're able to travel further when you're more connected to your emotions. So that's a really great insight into how to broaden your horizons, which is in your present energy, is thinking about following your heart, following your feelings. You might not know the strategy, but you might get a sense of the people that you want to connect with, or the places you want to go, or the types of groups you want to experience. And this can be an indicator for you to head in those directions. So use your heart as a compass. That is going to be a very good guide. Now, when it comes to this more masculine energy, which I see as like the strategy, the action, we have the wolf, the stag, and the green man. I'm finding this energy very rigid. So it's not to say don't have any strategy or don't have any, plans and take action on them, but also be wary that they're not too rigid and that they aren't limiting your strengths and your opportunities. All of these cards are very much like solo energy, like the lone wolf, for example, or the stag. It's very defensive, it's very on edge, it's very much like, I need to make it happen and I need to make it happen myself. This is not the best energy for you to be growing, to be feeling abundant, for you to be really connecting with the people, the places, the opportunities that are going to bring in that balance that you're seeking. I think the fact that these energies, the masculine and the feminine, are almost in conflict is sort of telling me that that is one area that deserves some more time and attention to bring into balance. Now, there are so many resources online, free and paid, for you to dive into working with feminine and masculine energies, the union of the two of them. You can also find a million books and podcasts and things like that as well. That might be an avenue you want to go down. You might also find a mentor, a friend, a community, someone to connect with that can help guide you in this direction as well. Now, the other two cards that are in the future that go deeper into this, we have the Six of Bows Abundance, which is in reverse. I don't think anyone likes to see an abundance card in reverse. And then we have the Six of Stones Exploitation. So these people very much in scarcity. So to me, this is sort of indicating that, like I said right at the start of this future section, this isn't about prediction. It's not saying you're going to have a lack of money, you're going to have a lack of opportunities, you're going to have a lack of finances. However, this is an indicator that, in the future, you might need to be a little bit more focused on your finances. You might wish to have a bit more of a conscious relationship with how you're thinking and feeling about your career, your business, your finances, your budget, your opportunities in those areas, not because they're not available to you, but there is just this almost like a tightening of belt kind of energy. So whether that is just perceived, like we can all fall into it, lack mindset, especially with, the economy and, housing and just the things, going on in the world, that there is this over sort of arching energy of struggle and strife. So that can have a major impact on just how you're, feeling in your circumstances, even if they are no different from before, or even if you've been in worse positions. When we have these big influencing energies that are kind of dominating our own energy, they can filter over what is actually happening and shift our perspective. So in the future, being very clear on ruling with the heart, not letting the head dominate in a way that is constrictive and refining, and also keeping an eye on how you're thinking and feeling about your finances. Now, that is an area where you might wish to bring in more of that masculine structure, but also don't forget to keep your heart in the game. That is going to be very powerful as well for you. Okay, let me just check if I wanted to say anything else. I want to pull a few oracle cards now to bring in some sort of messages to round this up and round this out. We're going to be using the Work Your Light Oracle and the Oracle of Shadows and Light in a moment. We will use the Work Your Light Oracle to look at, to just work with the moon even more beautifully, illumination. So what needs to be illuminated for you in order for what we've just discussed here with the past, present, and future, in order for it to be as smooth as possible, as graceful as possible, and as positive as possible. So what needs to be illuminated for your highest good and gifts? You've got transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing. Sisterhood of the Rose. Beauty and devotion. Priestess, mystic teacher. One more, please. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? All right, starting with this transformation card. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing. This is a reminder of that death card. You know, things are changing, but also like a beautiful just illumination that you are the one making the changes. You are the one creating this next chapter. What is spread out before you is yours to influence, to impact, to get creative with. So not only are you in the driver's seat of your life, and that's a belief to start to work in and wire in and really act from, but also know and trust that when you make changes, even if on the physical they're not manifesting immediately, focus on the internal manifestation, trusting that this is happening at a cellular level, that you are breaking chains, that you are moving forward, that you are in a new cycle, a new season, a new chapter of your life. And sometimes we just need to really get on board with those internal changes and stop waiting for the external to have the confirmation for us. That is not acting in faith. That is acting mostly out of fear. Is it there yet? Is it there yet? Is it there yet? How about, is it here yet? And then work on this first. Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. When I see this card, I get the sense that you are ready for a guide, for a mentor, for a community that really leans into the feminine. And I don't just mean feminine as in female, I mean feminine as in intuitive, as in creative, as in really leading from that heart space and helping you do the same. So you might already be in a space like that. That is your invitation to show up there more fully. You might be in a space like that and you feel like you're showing up there more fully, but are you showing up there like more heartfully, more devotedly? And that doesn't mean devoting to that person. It means devoting to yourself and devoting to your growth. Are you getting out of that space what you need? Are you asking for what you need? This can be also your rise as a priestess, mystic, or teacher. What gifts and intuitive skills and just workings of magic, whether, you know, that's very practical or very mystical, do you have to call on and draw upon? How about you have a conversation with the moon, like I suggested at the start? Maybe you pull some cards, or perhaps it's just that deeper sense of faith and trust in your own power, your own greatness. Now, for those of you in a business path, of, you know, maybe you're a reader, maybe you're a healer, maybe you're a coach, maybe you sell crystals or, you know, other spiritual related offerings, or maybe you're just here to help and heal the world through whatever it is that you're doing, embracing that more fully, shining a light on yourself more fully. And finally, trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? To me, this is a question to really, maybe it's the first question you ask the moon. If I was supported, if I knew I was fully supported, what should I do? Or you can phrase that maybe as a better way to the moon, or like, hey moon, I know I'm fully supported. What should I be doing? Or where can I go next? Or what would be the most powerful thing for me to do? With the Shadows and Light Oracle, what I really desire from this deck is, because that was illumination, what we need to shine a light on. And these ones are what we need to shine less of a light on. And what I mean by that is we can sometimes overemphasize our flaws, our struggles, our conflicts, and the things that are holding us back to the point where they grow out of proportion to the reality. Our mind is a beautiful, devious thing that can latch onto stuff, and what we latch onto lasts. So making sure that we're not, you know, holding on to things that no longer serve. Okay. The first card we have is the Angel de los Muertos, transitions to the spirit realm. The message I'm getting here with this one is you might have or have been focusing too much on, and by too much, it's just out of proportion to what is healthy for you. And that doesn't mean about forgetting anything, but it does mean working with it in a way that's conducive to your growth and to your prosperity. That's just my disclaimer for this whole section, because it's basically looking at your shadows and going, it's not as big as you think it is. And I don't mean that in a dismissive or uncaring way. So much love for all of you. But this is more of a wake up call energy. So embrace that in the fullness. Transitions to the spirit realm. So maybe there has been someone that has passed, and this isn't about forgetting or letting go of, but just considering how that is influencing what is currently happening in your life, or how you're feeling about what is currently happening in your life. Now, it doesn't have to be that. Maybe it is just the loss of a job, a loss of an opportunity, a sense of loss and lack. We did have those cards of exploitation and abundance in reverse. So maybe there's just been a lot of sort of like money lost at this moment, and there's too much of your focus and attention on that and not enough on prosperity, abundance, and, life and opportunity. The fact that this is about transitions to the spirit realm, I also get the sense here you're putting too much weight and responsibility on your gifts, guides, and angels. And what I mean by that is when we are working, and this is my experience, when we are working with guides, goddesses, spirit team, ascended masters, like all of that sort of stuff, is we are working in partnership. We are working in tandem. It is not, hey, just because I've got guides, I give it up to you. I give it up to you, and I don't have any responsibility for myself. It is around having like a genuine partnership and team. If you don't feel equal, if you don't feel like you're an equal partner, or if you're actually not taking any responsibility for what's happening in your life, that is a shadow to clear up. Let's look at our next two cards. We have ghosts of the past. The past returns for a time. Living in the past, there is so much weight to what has happened previously. So maybe if you're in business, you're like so focused on what went wrong last time, you're recreating it in the present and in the future. Or perhaps you're actually been revisited by someone in the past, maybe someone who has let you down, who has betrayed you, who has not treated you well, or simply someone who you've moved on from, or you thought they've moved on from you, and they've returned and they're stirring up these old memories and really pulling you back into a chapter of your life that you're no longer a part of. You're like a character that's in the wrong story. So in this area, I find it very interesting that we've got spirit realm and ghosts of the past. It's very much like allowing yourself to release the past, allowing yourself to move on from the past, and no longer be that character that, no longer fits the story that you're living now. This is so interesting because all of these cards, in this whole deck, not all of them are about the past. Yeah, all of these are. We've got faceless ghosts and the haunted girl. Ghost people. Maybe someone or something has ghosted you and you're just, kind of obsessed with it a little bit. This could be in a romantic situation in relationship. It could be, you're dating and there's a lot of, just because, that's sort of the way dating apps and different things are these days. A lot of people, ghosting, not getting back to you, saying one thing, doing another. It could be ghosting in regards to job opportunities or business, or simply people coming and going at their leisure and not at your pleasure. So faceless ghosts, ghosts of the past, and Angel de los Muertos, this is just really saying you have the potential. I won't say you are, because this isn't going to resonate with everyone and not resonate in the same way. There is a lot of potential to be obsessed with, focused on, and stuck in the past people, past opportunities, past problems, or simply just past stories and narratives, past lives, past timelines, literally insert what is resonating. And this is simply not serving you. So what I would say to help you actively respond to that, because it's all well and good for me to go, don't live in the past, is think about what is challenging you at the moment, what is feeling like a struggle, what is weighing you down. And that could be weighing you down energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You might just get a sense of ickiness in this area, or, feeling taken advantage of. Perhaps it's just as simple as you've just got literally all the stuff from the past that you no longer use or you no longer want, but you're having trouble letting go of. So it could be physical, it could be, internal. Just write it all down on paper of like, what from the past is still in my present that no longer serves, or what is from my past is still in my present, and then scan over it and make a logical holistic assessment. What do I want to stay and what do I desire to go, and just get one more step closer to clarity around what is working for you, what is supporting you, and what you truly desire. Ooh, this was a very intense reading. I would love to hear from you. So if you feel very connected and called to any of these messages or to taking action on any of these messages, please let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to take me up on the full moon offer of 44% off my intuitive services, all the information is below. And if you would like to come and join us in the Soul Led and Satisfied membership, where I support you much more closely, much more personally every single week to really get into alignment and start taking action towards a life of your dreams, then the information will also be below. But beyond that, I'm just going to be doing a lot more of these. I'm also very active on Instagram. If you would like to have more sort of micro pieces of magic to help you stay in alignment and living your authentic truth, then come and join me over there. I'll remember to pop that information below as well. Thank you for joining me. I hope this has served. I trust that it has, and I can't wait to see you next time.